Good evening, guys. It's good evening. Kindly let me know where you're watching us. Please share the video, guys. I said good evening. Please also tell me how is my sound. Is my sound okay? I would like to know whether my sound is okay. I'll be very grateful if you guys can please just tell me how my sound is. That would be nice. You guys are fantastic. I'm always honored to be here with you. You are such a fantastic audience, and I'm very grateful for you guys, to be honest. I have to tell you that I can never thank you enough. Yeah, so please tell me, of course, just tell me whether I'm audible enough. Just tell me if I'm audible enough, please. Tell me if I'm audible enough. That would be very helpful. If you can tell me if I'm audible. All right, good. So thank you so much, guys. So what we are bringing on live with us this evening is our friend Jacqueline. So we are looking at the power of consistency and persistence. Of course, Jacqueline is an accountant, but I'll let Jacqueline introduce herself. Jacqueline, good evening, and how are you?
Good evening, Shadrach. I'm very well, thank you. How are you doing this evening?
I'm fantastic. We have our viewers here who are saying that the sound's okay. Okay, we have one engineer saying the sound's okay. Oh yeah, okay. K says I want a book. Oh, before we even start, somebody wants a book. All right. So they say they need us to write a book, Jacqueline. So Jacqueline, please welcome to the show. I'm so grateful that you are here, and thank you so much for making time to come and share with us things on the power of consistency and persistency. So Jacqueline, please, you may tell us and the viewers a little bit about yourself so they get to know you.
Okay, so my full names are Jacqueline Chipula. You can call me Jackie for short.
Okay.
Professionally, I am a tax accountant, but I'm also an economist and a real estate agent.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
All right. Tax accountant, economist, and a real estate agent. I think that information should have been put on the cover of the show. Like seriously, Jacqueline, you hold that information from me. I feel betrayed right now.
I'm sorry, you learn
I feel
every single
deceived.
day.
Like seriously, that is important information that was supposed to be given to me before now.
I
Yeah,
apologize. Accountant
I
was
think that
fine.
accountant was fine. All right.
It was okay.
Thank you so much. I think that is also humility on your part. Because a lot of people are obsessed with qualifications and what they have. So I think that is nice. So to get the ball rolling, guys, okay, Vanasharin says very audible enough. Fantastic. Okay, good evening, Vanasharin. Good evening. All right, so Jacqueline, we are looking at the power of consistency and persistence.
Yeah.
Just to get the ball rolling, what does that even mean? What is consistency and persistence? What is the relationship?
So just to break it down, the relationship between persistency and consistency, I'll give definitions of both. I
Yes.
think consistency is doing something regularly and steadily,
Yes.
whereas persistency is doing something continuously in spite of any challenges or opposition that you might face during that
Fantastic.
course of action.
Indeed. Wow, that's good. That's very fantastic. So,
Yeah.
how is consistency and persistence important when it's come to deciding on a goal or mission that one wants to pursue?
I think just going to the beginning, if you decide to pursue a goal or a mission, it's very important to understand what that path is going to look like.
Yes.
Because for you to be able to see light at the end of the tunnel, you have to be consistent in being able to achieve or accomplish that goal.
Indeed.
So, in terms of consistency, you have to continuously work towards achieving that goal.
Indeed.
So from the beginning, you have to really understand what is going to be involved in you achieving that goal. So before you even get started, you have to outline your thought process and know what
Indeed.
exactly is going to be required of me. Because it would be pointless for me to start something that I know I'm going to leave in the middle, or I know I'm not going to be able to accomplish because I can't even get to stage two.
Indeed. Fantastic. I think that's awesome. So talking about having your thoughts put together. Why is that so important in somebody who wants to achieve a certain goal? What do you have to tell us about getting started and procrastination?
Okay, so I think once you have analyzed your thoughts and decided on what you want to embark on, I think the hardest part of any challenge is getting started.
Yes.
So I could have this ideology in my mind, but putting it on paper or actually materializing it would be the greatest challenge. So
Indeed.
I put those together, getting started and procrastination, because we tend to delay starting something.
Indeed.
And I think because it's the hardest step,
Indeed.
it takes a bravery for you to embark on, I think, any mission really,
Indeed.
because you would have outlined your thought process. And for you to just
Indeed.
get started, you might be holding back from embarking on that mission because of one fear. So that would lead you to procrastinate. But I
Indeed.
think it's very important to just put your head out there, put your feet out there, and get started. Because that's the
Indeed.
only way you be able to see light at the end of the tunnel. If you start walking step by step, baby steps.
Indeed. I think I like the fact that you are touching the thought process. So what is involved in you in one who wants to have a clear mind, clear thoughts? What is involved in this process?
In having a clear thought.
Yes. Because one can back on a go, but there are these doubts. You're scared, sometimes do not expect. So how do you align your thoughts in relation to the goal you want to achieve?
I think it's very important, first of all, to assess where you are um, before you make a decision to embark on a goal. I could talk about, let's say, I want to start a certain course. So I
Indeed.
want to study ACCA or SEMA or Zika. I need
Indeed.
to first assess where I am currently. Okay, so I could say I'm working currently, and I need to understand how I'll be able to manage my time as I embark on
Indeed.
that goal. So it's
Indeed.
very important to assess where you are. That would be the beginning of your thought process. So before
Indeed.
I even get to the steps of how I'm going to achieve this, I need to understand where I am. And of
Indeed.
course, fear is something that will almost always kick in to a person.
Indeed. Indeed.
But I think what helps me to get over fear is the thought of accomplishing that goal at the end of it.
Indeed.
I think that's what gets me through and helps me deal with the fear. I think it's lost.
Usually we have challenges with with getting started, and I think I like the
Network.
fact that you're supposed to recognize the where you are. I've noticed that most people they want to do things partly because they hate somebody else is doing them. You see, they don't see the need, like you have put it, to recognize where you are. Now, just to add more on that one, Jackie, what really is the big deal about? First of all, before you even begin, just first identifying where you are. Why is that so important?
Identifying where you are, because
Yes.
first of all, I think why that is very important. I think I'll take from something that you said, to say somebody might want to do something because somebody else is doing it, but the fact of the matter
Yes.
is you don't have that person's picture. So what you could see is maybe only one side of whatever it is that they're doing. And for example,
Indeed.
you might decide to embark on career change or school education, but you might not have the financing to do that. But you're
Indeed.
thinking, I need to do this because somebody else is doing it. And you face grave challenges that might discourage you at the end, and you won't be able to achieve that. So you have to
Indeed.
understand things, you have to introspect and think of what you're going to do based on where you are as an individual.
Fantastic. I think that's a good one. That's a good one. So now we have thought about, somebody thinks about where they are. We are done with where we are. We come with we align our thoughts to our goals, and we get the ball rolling, Jackie.
Mhm.
So now, how do we deal with challenges? Because I'm sure, just like every other field, there are different kinds of challenges. For example, in accounting, as a tax accountant and economics, I'm sure you understand there are different other challenges that people who are in business are facing. Even just us who are getting started, those who are getting started, are also their own challenges. So how do you then deal with challenges?
Dealing with challenges, I think, is one of the most challenging things.
Indeed.
um, I think it's very important to understand a challenge. I'll give an example of,
Indeed.
let's say, my career as a tax accountant. A challenge that
Indeed.
I might face might be a client maybe not understanding something that happened on their accounts, and probably getting upset by that. It's very important for me, first of all, to understand, one, what I'm doing, two, my client, three, their needs. And if that is a challenge for me, if I don't understand those things, I don't think it will be very easy for me to be able to face that challenge and be able to come up with a solution. So it's very important for
Indeed.
me to understand what exactly the challenge is and what it
Mhm.
requires from me. If it's
Indeed.
education, I'll give an example of a course that's very maybe difficult in understanding. I need to fully understand that I'm having a challenge with understanding or grasping that concept and seek help.
Yes.
I think it's very important to seek help when you're facing a challenge. If you look within you and you're not able to solve a problem, it's very important to look up to somebody who might help you solve that problem. So, facing a
Indeed.
challenge would require you fully understanding what that challenge is, and if you can solve it by yourself, or if you actually need help to be able to solve it.
Fantastic. I think that's awesome. Now we have a question, we have a comment that I want to
Yeah.
bring to your attention, because this
Okay.
seems to be important. I've just forwarded this one, partly because the person commenting has told me that they don't want to be shared. So
Okay.
I've just sent it on my personal account. Yes,
Okay.
this is coming from a lady. I have a brief background of her. She's telling me that she's a married woman and she's a teacher,
Okay.
but she has a problem with what you just said. She's saying main challenge is procrastination. So I'm just going to just get the last part of what she said. She's the comment
Mm.
because she then got her name to appear. So she said for me, so that's the comment. I have procrastination problem. Please help. So she's giving a background. She says she's a teacher, and of course, she has a challenge because at some point she got a loan to start a business. But she's been moving from one business to another. Sometimes she wants to invest the money. She says, "I'll do it next week." And until the whole money has been what has been finished.
Right.
Yeah, maybe I think that's why she didn't want she didn't want to be known, maybe because for family reasons. I'm sure. So I've just decided to copy and paste a comment on my personal. Yeah. So how do you deal with procrastination? How do you help a person like that? They want to start something, they have done it, the motivation is there, and then suddenly it's no longer there, they postponed. How do you deal with that?
How do you do with such procrastination? First of all, let me understand. Okay, you said
Yes.
she got a loan to start a business, right?
Okay, let me just read what she has said. She's saying that, hi, Mr. Sambo. Of course, please don't mention my name. She said that she has been struggling with procrastination. She didn't know if it has got to do with lack of confidence or just low self-esteem. So at some point, she even got a loan and she wanted to get into this
Mm-hmm.
business, but she kept on postponing up until all the money was finished. And there has been some problems, of course, with the husband over the same issue. I think that's why she didn't want us to be able to bring a name here. Yeah. So she's saying, how can you please help me? I have this procrastination problem. Yeah.
First of all, I want to commend her for acknowledging that she has this problem. I think procrastination is a very grave problem that a lot of people don't acknowledge. And you'd think,
Indeed.
I'll do this tomorrow, I'll do this tomorrow, without realizing that that is actually a problem in itself. I think when you're looking at an
Indeed.
investment, for example, she had the right mindset and she had the maybe the motivation, and then when she finally came to face this, she wasn't feeling very motivated. It's okay. There's a difference between
Indeed.
procrastination and just taking a break to really think about what you want to do. What I will not commend her on is spending the money. That's never a good thing. So what you can do in
Indeed.
that instance, what you can do in that instance is wait. I think for you to be able to achieve a certain goal, there's always a waiting period as you decide, like I said, your thought process.
Indeed.
And I might have the motivation today, but tomorrow I might wake up and think, no, I don't really want to do this. In that instance, it's okay for me to use tomorrow to sit and say, I'm going back to the drawing board to see what I can do with this money. Okay. Don't engage in spending money used for business, for personal. I know sometimes you might have personal needs, but try to be accountable and try to budget as much as you possibly can. If a need is very vital, then try and work around it, but don't use business money for personal expenses. It's okay to take time to think of what you really want to do. And if you have thought of an investment and you don't have the motivation to do that anymore, it's okay, it's fine. Go back to the drawing board, do your research on what you think you can invest in. Could be agriculture, farming, like she's maybe a teacher, could be giving out loans, microfinance. So go back to the drawing board and think about another investment. Okay, don't use the money, better put it back in the bank and just hold on to it. But in the case of a loan, you know that you obviously have to start paying it back as quickly as possible.
Yes.
So don't take
Yes.
too much time thinking about what you want to do, because you have to pay that money back. So you could find
Indeed.
somebody to speak with, a financial advisor, somebody who's in a business that you might want to engage in. They might give you tips that you may not have thought of, as you're thinking of that investment. So I think it's always important to wait, hold on, don't spend money. Procrastination is a bad thing, but sometimes it's important because it helps you in making the best decision.
Indeed. Thank you so much for that. I actually have another question and several other questions. Go to this other one. This one says, this is Nanayo Obiri Yeboa. He says, this is Nana. She says, I'm not sure. Nana is a lady, right? I'm assuming she's a lady. She says, I have a question for Miss Jackie. At what point and stage do you stop investing in your education? And this is a good question, Jackie, partly because you are an educated person. Do you feel the need to stop at some point? At what point do you stop? You see, we are being taught that education is the best investment, but sometimes even with education, you don't get to see good results. So we have a question here. At what point do you stop?
I don't think looking at it from a point of view of maybe let's say upgrading your papers. You do invest a lot of
Yes.
time in upgrading your papers and going to school, but I
Yes.
think it's always important to invest in education. And I'm not saying that always continuously go to school. Of course, you could achieve your master's, your doctorate, and say, okay, I'm done upgrading
Indeed.
my papers. But just because you're done upgrading your papers doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be done investing in your education. I think
Yes.
some of the people who read the most on this planet are probably doctors and professors. And yet
Yes.
they have spent their entire lives in school. So it's
Yes.
always important to manage that balance of being in school and family and work. But I don't think you
Yes.
can ever really stop investing in your education because things are always updating. You learn something new every single day. And knowledge is
Indeed.
power.
All right. I think that's fantastic. Thank you so much. I think that woman has opened up doors. Another person, this is a Felicitas who said, I also have the same problem. So I'm assuming that the problem is the one for and also, of course, Nosiko said, I'm following. Thank you so much. We have Felicitas also asking again. She's asking, do you do consultants? I need help with thought alignment. You talked about thought alignment, and Felicitas needs some help with that. Do you do consultants?
Yes, I do. I do consultancy.
Or all right, there we go. Thank you so much. Okay, so we can continue. So, of course, Dos says awesome stuff. Thank you. So now, Jackie, getting back to our topic at hand. So we've established a base where we have our thoughts aligned, and then we have our goals set, we have our missions, properly defined, and then we
Mhm.
have challenges, facing challenges. So, what kind of skills are needed for somebody who's trying to be consistent what they are doing so they can achieve results? What kind of skills do they need to have? What kind of mindset is required to be able to face challenges with confidence?
Sorry, I did. Please repeat that. I didn't get that.
So now we are saying that we've established a point where we've gotten started, our goals are there, our thoughts are aligned, and now we are
Yeah.
facing challenges. So,
Yeah.
so what type of problem solving skills that need for them to face those challenges they face with confidence? Because we're talking about being persistent and consistent, but sometimes it comes at a very big cost. Sometimes you want to do something good and you just keep getting bad results. So what kind of problem solving skills may be necessary for somebody?
Um, I think I'll put this in two parts. Okay, so there's
Yes.
facing challenges where, let's say, for example, I give an example of the education where I'm finding a course quite difficult to understand, and I'm able to seek help.
Yes.
Okay, I really want to pass
Yes.
that course. I'm not swaying or
Yes.
going away from this mission at all costs. I have to pass. It's clear cut. Okay, and then there's certain challenges where I'm trying something. Okay, for example, I'll give an example of agriculture for myself. I think I did
Yes.
agriculture in high school in grade 12. I had two beds. I grew, I think, maize and rep. And I was extremely proud that they actually bore fruit because I'm not a farmer. I don't, it's something that I
Yes.
particularly think I wouldn't maybe do extremely well in. Okay. So imagine I embark on a
Indeed.
mission to be a farmer, and I know full well that that is not my strength, but I keep trying and I keep facing challenges and I keep not succeeding in that regard. It's very important to understand your path, okay? It's like sometimes we tend to push ourselves so hard, and I'm saying I'm facing challenges, I'm not finding a solution. Sometimes it's okay to stop and analyze and re-strategize and refocus and say, maybe this is not for me. Okay. At the end of the day, I think every human being has got a different skill set. It's very important to know your
Indeed.
skill and work on improving that skill set if it works for you. But it's also important to know what is not working for you. I think that's also a strength in itself than investing all your energy and absolutely draining yourself from something that will not yield a result. So it's important to understand
Fantastic.
what type of challenges you're facing. Okay, it's very important to know that, because sometimes you might be pushing and hitting a brick wall.
I like that, Jackie. It's important to know what's not working for you. I think that's a very good point you made. So now we're talking about consistency and persistence. So persistence, you mentioned that it has got to do with being able, the willingness to want to go an extra mile, even though there are challenges. So
Yes.
at what point do you come to just accept and say, you know what, this thing is not working for me. Let me look the other way.
You need to look, I think first of all, you need to understand, like I said, your character. You need to understand your character, what your strength is, and what you can do. And if you're facing a challenge and you've tried all means, you've reached the last means of maybe, let's say, seeking help and getting assistance from somebody who is in a better position than you are, and it doesn't work. Don't spend too much time punching a wall that will only hurt your fist. I think you need to know. I can't really give an exact time frame or a timeline of when you need to stop doing something, but I think you'll be able to tell, to say, okay, I've been doing this for 3 years
Yes,
or 4 years, and maybe it's time to, throw in the towel and do something else. So the time frame, the timeline could be different,
indeed,
but you just need to understand that.
indeed, indeed. Fantastic. So now that means somehow you want to feel like you failed, Jack, because you started to be consistent, and sometimes all your good efforts just don't have good results. So there's no any other definition in your mind apart from the word failure. You failed. So how do you deal with failure then?
Failure is, I think, one of the greatest things that causes fear within us. Um, I
Indeed.
read Mzinga Melu's book, Braving the Odds. It's a very good book. If
Yes,
you haven't read it, please
yes,
do read it. And I think she
yes.
started off in nursing school, if I'm not mistaken. And she went to nursing school. I think she wasn't performing very well. I can't remember exactly if she dropped out or she failed the course, you know. And she was so demotivated, obviously. I mean, failure is a very demotivating thing. And yet, guess what? That was not her path. That was not her calling. So for me, I don't see failure as failure. I see it as a lesson learned. I see it as an eye opener. If you look at where she is right now, very few people can tell that she failed at some point in her life, you know. So it's very important to know that we all fail, but it's not about failing, it's about how you pick yourself up from that failure. Do I choose to stay down and say, I failed nursing, I'm nothing, I'm not going to become anything? Or do I pick myself up and say, okay, nursing didn't work for me, doesn't make me a failure. Maybe I'm a banker. Let me try the banking industry. So I think we need to try and minimize looking at failure as the end, but just a closed door, and knowing that another one is about to open.
Fantastic. I think that's awesome. I think that's awesome. Before we go, I like the fact that you're pointing out that it's not just about failure that defines us. Like you've given an example, Mzinga. There's a question though here. Of course, those things are awesome. There's a question from Taisia who says, "Hi Jackie, do you advise one to get a loan to cover for losses?" Awesome topic. So you failed, maybe you've made losses. Now maybe you want to quit. I'm trying to get the minds of this gentleman. Would you advise somebody to get a loan to cover for losses?
I would not advise you to get a loan to cover losses. I think if you've incurred losses, first of all, I would like to understand how those losses have been incurred. Okay. If let's say you had capital and you invested in a business and it didn't work, and you have losses, you've made losses. The best thing to do with that business is close it. Because if it didn't work for you and you made losses, okay, first of all, okay, you have a period of time where I think every business makes losses as it's starting out its operations. That's normal. It will continue, it as long as it's able to finance itself, then it will continue running. It should be sustainable. But if you make a business such that it can't run itself, you close that chapter. You do not get a loan to reinvest in that business that you do not really know or understand how to manage. Because guess what? You not only have a loss, but you now be in debt because you'll be owing the bank or microfinance and without a sustainable means of paying it. Because the idea of loans is to be able to invest in a business that is functioning so that it can pay back the loan. You don't want to shoot yourself in the foot and you're not making any money. And then you have, I think the worst kind of thing in your mind would be living with debt and knowing that you have to pay this back, but have no means to do that. It's not a great feeling. So I wouldn't encourage that. If you're going to get a loan, maybe try and invest in a different business and do some research before you get that loan.
Indeed. All right. So before we go to the next one, before we go to the other comment, I want to just take you back again to dealing with failure, and why is it important when you fail to learn from mistakes, and also please comment the value that comes to learning from your failure.
Sorry, your network was bad. I didn't get that.
All right. So what I'm saying that I've got a couple of more comments coming through, but before I get to those ones, I want to find out from you what value lies in learning from your mistakes and also understanding your path.
What value lies from learning from your mistakes and understanding your path?
Yes.
I'll talk about learning from your mistakes. I think if you fail, for example, at something, like I'll give an example of myself. I think I was doing FA, financial accounting, some 2018, 2017. And I didn't clear this course twice, I didn't clear this course twice. And I nearly gave up. I said, you know what? Maybe accounting is not for me, okay? And I had a chat with my brother. My brother is an auditor. So I had a chat with him and I said, how do you people get accounts? Because of course my background is economics. Okay, so I said, how do you people get accounts? And he sat with me. I think I had one lecture session with my brother and he helped me understand where I was making a mistake. He helped me understand where I was making a mistake. And I sat down with him and I explained what I was not getting and he helped me understand where I was making a mistake. And after I had that lecture session with him, I could understand where I made the mistake and I learned from making that mistake. And guess what? The next time I wrote that paper, I was the highest in the country, from not clearing it twice. Yeah. I think it's a question of, one, accepting that you've made a mistake. Sometimes we make mistakes and we don't want to accept. So if we don't accept, then we don't learn. If we don't learn, we're not able to correct that mistake. Okay, so it's very important to go back, and sometimes it takes courage and confidence to go to somebody and say, look, I didn't pass or I didn't do well in this. Can you please help me understand where I went wrong? That takes courage because people always want to feel like I have this in the bag, but you really don't, So it's very important to understand that I've made a mistake and to acknowledge it and accept it. Only then can you be able to learn from that mistake. And guess what? The thrill of achieving something from that mistake that you learned is, I think, it's priceless, because I remember when I cleared that course, I got down on my knees and I said, what? With high marks, because I didn't even understand it. Yes. I got an award for that course. So until this day, I still live with that thrill, you know. And I think it's
Yeah,
the thrill of that accomplishment is it's so valuable, you know. It's so valuable to
yeah,
you as a person, as an individual. I think you'd feel a sense of confidence and accomplishment within you, you know.
indeed, indeed. Fantastic. I think that's encouraging, Jackie there. So we have Nosipo who says thank you for the points on how to deal with failure. Of course, we have okay. This one recognizes the need that thank you for the points you made. We have Mabin who has a question for you. Mabin says, while still on failure, how can one best deal with the fear of failure? There are people who have, because even me in my work, Jackie, I have people that come to do consultancy, but the issue that they have that they are scared. People have a lot of money in these homes, like never before. But they want him, so in the end they keep them like that lady who said that she ended up losing the money. You know.
Yeah.
So what is just what that one thing you can point at and say, no, if you want just to deal with the fear of failure, please try this one. That one thing you can point at.
Dealing with
The
the
fear of
fear of
failure.
failure. Um, the only thing, or rather the most important thing I can think to point at dealing with the fear of failure is, I think, success overpowers failure. Okay. And
Yes.
positivity overpowers negativity. Okay. So, in as much as there's always a negative side to a situation, I think your mindset should focus on the positive side. And it's not to say that you can't end on the negative side, but look, the way I look at things is very simple. I don't think there is one successful person who tried something and didn't fail. Okay. The best way to deal with the fear of failure is looking at it as two things. It's either you pass or you learn. Okay. It's either you
Fantastic.
win or you learn.
Fantastic. Fantastic. So don't feel like a failure. Just you know what, I've learned something. I think that's
I've learned
fantastic.
something.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Nosiko agrees with you. She says, I guess I also need a lecture session. She wants a private session for that.
We can arrange that.
I think that's the good one. That's the good one. That's the good one. Maybe it says thanks. It's golden the point. That's a good one. You need to like this, like seriously. Like seriously. Thank you so much for that. I think I like the fact that you are saying success overpowers the fear of failure. I think that's a hit there, Jackie. You know, so having that focusing on the reward, the result, I think can overpower the fear of failure. You're very right. So now getting back to our motion, Jackie, we are talking about now. You know, you've failed, yeah, and then you've learned from your mistakes. You've understood your path. So then, how now do you reestablish yourself? How then do you now begin to focus afresh, refocus, re-strategize? How do you do that?
So if you've learned focus, so you've learned from your mistakes and you know and acknowledge where you went wrong. I think
Yes.
it's very important to immediately start trying to correct those mistakes. And this is where the focus comes in. For example, I'll give an example of like the education path where I didn't clear the course and I learned from my mistakes, or maybe I wasn't putting in enough effort, maybe I wasn't applying
Mm-hmm.
myself. So at that point, I'm going back to focus and say, I need to apply myself. Okay. I'm going to be focused and concentrate on what I need to do to correct those errors. Refocus. I was focused and I still didn't get it. Okay. I need to refocus. I need to realign what I was doing, find better ways of doing it, re strategize. If I did something and it wasn't working, for example, oh, I tried to do my farming, it didn't work. I need to go back to the drawing board. And if I do want to continue with the farming, maybe I can say, oh, I need to re strategize. I need to change the crops I'm investing in because maybe this is not the season. Maybe they're not doing great. So I'm re-strategizing. Okay. If I decide maybe I don't want to do agriculture altogether, maybe I could be a middleman. I'm importing seedlings and selling to the farmers. So I'm going to re-strategize. Okay, because I've tried something and I've acknowledged my mistakes. I've acknowledged that this is not working for me. So I'm going back to the drawing board. And I think it's very important to know that you can choose to focus, refocus, re-strategize as many times as you need to in life. There is no timeline. There's no, okay, I'm 55 now. I have failed at agriculture. I can't do anything else. No, there is no timeline.
Fantastic. Just for the sake of interest, Jackie, how do you differentiate between a good plan and a good strategy? As you are trying to refocus and strategize, what's the difference? I'm asking this part because I have people who come with me, their plans. Some of them are very good plans, but there's no strategy. So what is the difference between a good plan and a good strategy as you are trying to focus?
So I think a plan, first of all, is something you intend to achieve or to work on, right? I have a business plan and this is how I want to do things, and fine, it's perfect, it looks good. But a strategy will consider, if I do this, what's going to happen? Okay. And you prepare yourself. A strategy kind of looks at all the outcomes and backs up whatever needs to be backed up on those different outcomes. Okay. So the plan, with a plan, you need a good strategy, because the plan will just be, it'll be on paper and it will be good, but you haven't looked at all the factors that might affect that plan or all the outcomes that might come out of that plan. So for you to get a good plan that will work, you need a good strategy to back it up.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for that. So now we move on to the mindset. What role does this play? Does it play in somebody who, for you to maintain your consistency and your perseverance? What role is your mind playing to prevent you from giving up?
I think as a person, everything starts here. Okay. If I have one belief, if you can see it, you can achieve it. So imagine what I'm seeing in my mind is nothing. It's blank. There is no way I'm going to get up to work towards nothing. Okay. So your mindset is a very, very powerful tool. For you to just get up in the morning, to get out of bed, to be able to accomplish something good during that day, it all starts with how you're thinking. If I wake up and I say, today is going to be a bad day, 9 out of 10 times it's going to be a bad day. Okay. Because of the mindset that I woke up with. Yes. But if I wake up today and I say, today is going to be a good day, give or take, I might face challenges throughout that day, but because of the mindset that I have and the power that it possesses, I'll probably have a good day.
Fantastic. So now having that in mind, Jackie, how does that connect with accomplishing a goal?
Sorry?
So how then does that connect with accomplishing a goal?
How does that connect with?
Accomplishing a goal.
Or with accomplishing a goal. I think how this connects with accomplishing a goal is just based on the fact that I'll talk about the way it shows my character and my zeal and my motivation to accomplish that goal. If it starts with the mindset, then I'll be able to say, today I need to go out and do A, B, C, and D because I need to achieve this goal. Okay. So it starts from there. That is going to control my next move. It's going to control my next line of action towards that goal. So it's very linked. If I have a giving up mindset, I won't feel the need to be persistent in achieving this goal. I won't feel the need to be consistent in achieving this goal. So that the mindset is the beginning. It's the starting point. Okay. And then from the mindset comes the action.
Indeed.
So it's a starting point.
Indeed. Indeed. Fantastic. So we have okay, we have a few comments coming. Taija says refocus is the way. Thanks. I think that's fantastic. Nelson Mukula just says, you know what? I think I'm loving you. And then we have an interesting comment from your fellow gender says, Jackie, you're beautiful and smart. I love your point on fear of failure. I think that's fantastic.
Thank you.
That's I think it's good once in all for somebody to say. No, it was me. I look at the handsome dude, please. Somebody say that. Fantastic. I think that's another. Like serious, I'm now jealous, Jackie. Like seriously, people can't just see me. All right. So there we go. So what we have now here, we have now how do you maintain consistency? How does consistency now become an issue in maintaining your success?
I think this is actually one of the biggest challenges in life, or rather, one of the things that you really need to pay attention to. Because you can have all these challenges, you've overcome them, and then you finally achieve that goal, right? At this point, a lot of people would become blinded because you feel like, I've worked towards the goal, I've seen the light at the end of the tunnel. But guess what? For you to maintain that light, you need to even pump in more consistency than you did before. It's like in the music industry, for example. I'll give an example of Beyonce. Beyonce is a very known artist, and I don't think if she stopped and just said, "Oh, I'm already famous. I've already made my money," and she just sat there and did not produce any more music, she would be Beyonce. The greatest challenge is in maintaining that success. This is where now you have to really apply yourself, okay, and be able to maintain that success. You need to be able, otherwise, you might get carried away, and guess what? That success will just come dwindling down. For any business, I think the first thing that we learn in business is that it needs to be a going concern, meaning it needs to continue functioning. Okay. And for it to continue functioning, it means you have to be consistent in something that you're doing. If it functions and today I make a profit, I say, I'm happy with a $1 million, let the business, I don't need to apply myself anymore. That $1 million next year will be $500,000, and the year it will be $100,000, and then it will no longer exist. So this is the greatest challenge because you need to now maintain that success for it to continue being a success.
Indeed. Wow, fantastic. And I think that is the comment of the night, Jackie, partly because most of the people, once they hit that jackpot, they can go to sleep. But they forget what you mentioned, that if Beyonce did not do what she does, she wouldn't have been Beyonce today. She's been Beyonce today and many years ago, partly because of consistency, maintaining the success. So it becomes a full-time job. It's a full-time job. I like that point.
It's a full-time job.
Says, you know what, okay, I got you. And then we have, I don't know what it means, says I got you. This was a question earlier, I'm sure. Then we have, I don't know who's calling a friend, and Cornelius CJ Maria says, wow, nice one, Jackie. Fantastic. And of course, okay. Oh yeah, okay, good. So there's a question here, a very interesting question. This is coming from Nelson Mukuka, who says, do you believe that there are unrealistic goals that might sway your other goals and downgrade your morale of making yourself available to other things? And when do you realize that this goal is unrealistic? I like this question, Jackie, partly because it's the question that most people find hard to accept. So do you believe that there are realistic goals that might sway your way, your other goals, and downgrade your morale for making you able to other things? And when do you realize that this goal is unrealistic? I think that's a fantastic question there, Jan. What do you think?
That is a very good question and very, very relatable. And I think a lot of people have probably gone through this. And yes, they are definitely unrealistic goals. I mean, for example, I am an accountant by profession, and I'm just giving a very, very silly, so to speak, example, but I want to be a musician, okay? And I have this dream and passion to be a musician, but I can't sing. So I invest money in that industry. I invest money, I invest time, and I just invest myself. You know, whatever you invest yourself in is going to take a lot of energy from you. You understand? So you need
Yes.
to invest your time in things that work and things that are realistic. Like I just gave the example of myself being a musician. It's very unrealistic. I can't sing.
Yes.
So I need to know that, you know, then waste a lot.
That's a good
It's
one.
okay, you can
Yeah.
try certain things, but don't invest a lot of time.
Yes.
People tell me, I can't
Yes.
sing, I'm going to be a musician. It's my passion. No, you need to
Mm.
listen. You know, if somebody is telling you to say, oh, maybe you're not doing so well at this, try not to invest so much of your time because it can derail you from actually doing what you're supposed to be doing, you know. So
Indeed.
introspect, look within yourself, understand who you are, what you think you're good at, and then take it out. I think more often than not,
Indeed.
the environment will tell you what you're good at. You will fit in, you will fit into that environment. And if it's not working, take it
Indeed.
away. Don't get demotivated because that will derail you from actually achieving your goal and doing what you're supposed to be doing. So yes, very, very good question. And a lot of
Indeed.
people do spend a lot of time doing things they're not supposed to be doing.
Fantastic. And I think that's a very good answer there, Jackie. I think self introspection is important to avoid unrealistic goals because sometimes when people just think because they never do it, or because the mother, somebody they like is doing it. I think knowing what you are good at, assessing yourself, I think is a good thing. So of course, let me just respond to this one. Says, I want a book. Apart because my book will be launched soon, Jackie. I'll be launching a book in June.
Wow.
Yeah. Actually, I'm writing two books, so I'll be launching in June. So I'm sure this is why K is obviously I
I
want to
look
read.
forward.
So you
I'm
should come and
definitely
put
gonna
a
read these
chapter.
books.
Come and put a chapter in one of my books. I think I would love
I
that.
might.
That would be nice. So
Yeah.
indeed, we want to thank you, Jackie, for according us your valuable time to come and do with us this evening and discuss the value that lies in consistency and persistency. I think other people have, but I like the one to mention that that is for hours the fear of failure. I think that's just the quote of the night. Usually we tend to forget about the reward, just focus on the aspect of stuff, and that has killed many beautiful dreams. Is there any last word before we
Sorry.
any last remarks before we call it a night?
Any last remarks? Oh, okay. First of all, I do want to thank you very much for according me this opportunity to share my little thoughts on the power of
That's a lost Jackie.
consistency and persistence. And I think my last remarks would
Indeed.
just be to anybody who feels like they're failing at something. Like just try and look at just try and look at the outcome. Just try and look at the possibility of success rather than the possibility of failure. When you do that, your mindset changes. The way you look at anything, it changes, you know, and more often than not, you end up being successful in something you thought you never could be. So it's just an encouragement to just be consistent, be persistent, but don't overexert yourself in something that's not working. But if it is working or the slightest chance of
Indeed.
it working is there, please keep pushing. And one slogan: never give up, never give up.
Fantastic. With that said, thank you so very much. Of course, unfortunately, we cannot leave without bringing this one back, Jackie. There's something else before we go. I think we can look at this one under a minute before we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, it says my take on the part of taking a loan to start a business. That is a high risk because of number of factors. From what I have learned over time is that only when you've started the business and it has been working well, production is high, but your capital or finance is small, which has led to low production. For maximization of production on an already running business, that will be recommendable. I think that's very true. I think it's just
Very.
bringing addition what you mentioned already. You wouldn't advise anybody to get a loan to sustain a loss. I
Yeah.
think this is what DJ is trying to bring. Thank you so much for that one. We have QB who says powerful. Yeah, I think that's powerful. I also find what you say to be very powerful, Jackie. That's very very powerful. Mebin says thank you. Glad I followed. Blessings. Wow, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. Thank you
Thank
so much,
you.
Mabin. So we hope that Jack, you come back again. You give us more insight on a different topic. We hope to see you soon again. Please do accept us when you come back.
No problem. You're welcome.
All right. Thank you so very much, Jackie. Thank you so very much, our viewers, for your support. Thank you so much. Have a fantastic night. Till next time, it's bye bye from us and good night.
Good night.